That's very good morning to you, Tom. Right, let's start with Marcus Rashford's future. It's dominating the papers this morning. What can you tell us?
Yeah, good morning. Well, Marcus Rashford, he's pretty much always been a story during his Manchester United career, ever since he burst onto the scene quite literally under Louis van Gaal back in 2015. But as you've rightfully pointed out, there is multiple reports that Manchester United are open to selling Rashford ever since last summer, and they remain receptive to bids heading into the January transfer window. Remember, he did have that standout season under Erik ten Hag in the 22-23 campaign, scoring 30 goals in all competitions, but unfortunately he's not been able to match those lofty standards ever since. The 27-year-old signed a 5-year contract last year with a reported earnings of around £325,000 a week. So clearly, given FFP or PSR, whichever way you want to look at it, there's clearly cost-saving motives for the club. But some reports have also looked into his off-field behaviour as a potential cause for Manchester United being willing to let him go. He's been rightfully praised for his work with youngsters, helping getting food into schools, particularly during the summer holidays. But there has been a few negative off-the-field incidents. Earlier this year, he was pictured on a night out in Belfast in the build-up to an FA Cup game. And during recent international breaks, himself and Casemiro flew all the way to the States, with people such as Gary Neville openly criticising, arguing that his time would have been better spent perhaps here at the training ground rather than on long-haul flights. And as well, his international career, not a part of the Euro 2024 squad. New head coach Ruben Amorim was immediately asked about Rashford as soon as he got the job, and he said he wants to see that desire from Rashford in order to regain his form and improve. Well, he started with 3 goals in 5 appearances, so that's pretty decent numbers, but we'll have to wait to see if it's enough for Manchester United to resist any potential offers.
There's also been, they're never out of the news, are they? But there's been lots of scrutiny on Ineos following the departure of Dan Ashworth. How important is this for Amorim then, that they start getting some positive results on the pitch?
Well, if Nottingham Forest's first win at Old Trafford in 30 years on Saturday wasn't enough of a headline, it was quickly followed up by the departure of Dan Ashworth. Sir Jim Ratcliffe speaks about best in class, and that's what they clearly believed about Ashworth, and that's why they got him out of Newcastle. But some have described this decision to mutually agree his departure as embarrassing, his short stint at the club, while others say, yes, the optics don't look great, but they have quickly acted on something that isn't working. The new head coach, Ruben Amorim, obviously he wants to strictly speak to all things on the field. He's never lost 3 consecutive matches in his managerial career, his short managerial career, it has to be said, but that's what's in stake ahead, especially of tomorrow's Europa League, and then heading into a Manchester derby at City on Sunday, and then a League Cup quarter-final next week away at Spurs. Manchester United have really struggled on the road this season, in particular. Just 1 away win in the Premier League, that came away at Southampton, and it's back-to-back draws in this competition. So Viktoria Plzen's going to be a difficult challenge. Ruben Amorim does like to rotate his squad. He made 6 changes for their previous game in that victory over Bodo Glimt. But some positive news for Manchester United supporters, with the exception of the long-term absentee of Luke Shaw. All of the current squad are out here and available. So that includes the absences of Toby Collier, who's also been, and Johnny Evans, who've been absent for a while. Victor Lindelof was back training last week, but it's likely he could be getting some game time, as well as those all still making their way back to full fitness, the likes of Malacia, Yaro, Mount and Anthony. They'll surely be desperate for much needed minutes in tomorrow night's game. From the outset, Ruben Amorim said this job was a long-term journey, but Manchester United fans will be desperate for something to celebrate after what's been a pretty disappointing week.